Okay, aloha, folks. Welcome to Hoi Kaika again. I have a gentleman who actually, I don't think I've ever told him this, but I actually knew about him when I was 20 years old, when I used to dance at the Tahiti show back in Waikiki. A lot of the folks that danced over there talked about him back then. Seen some pictures of you back then too, actually. And I was like, oh, okay. And I never met him until I attended I think it was the 20th high school reunion. He's actually married to one of my classmates from Kamehameha schools, and which makes him a very smart man. No, I just kidding. I'm messing. But no, he's a very cool gentleman. I've heard so many good things about him before I actually met him in person. So to actually finally meet him a few years back, I thought was really cool. But here it is. Gentleman's name is Vili Toilolo, and I'm going to let him introduce himself. Go ahead, brother. Whenever you're ready.
Thank you. Hey, Gavin, thank you so much. I just wanted to say before I do so, what a great platform. I've seen the work that you've been doing, and it's an honor to be here. I believe you're doing some positive things, and your content is great. So, again, Viliamu Toilolo. I live in Laie, married to Penny back in 2000. Yes, I'm old. She's not old, but I'm old. But let me see. Born and raised in Seattle, Washington. I don't know if anybody knows that. Let's try to give you my background. I don't know if it's interesting. Moved over here right before my junior year in high school. My family moved to Kunia, right above the Walmart. And so that area is Waipahu High School. And I loved my junior and senior season, or yeah, I can say season. I'm thinking sports. Years in high school because of that. Some people probably would think like, oh, it's kind of awkward to leave right in the middle of high school. I loved it. I wish we did it sooner. Nothing against Seattle, Washington, but it's all good. Hey, Gavin, can we pause real quick? And thank you for that. I know you can edit the video. So one of my dreams, and this is part of my story, so I won't rush it like I usually rush my intros. When I was in Washington during a youth activity, we ended up having refreshments at one of the leaders' homes. A bunch of us youth, and someone had playing on their VCR. This kind of dates me as well. On their TV and VCR was the Polynesian Cultural Center night show. And I was like amazed. I have never heard of this. First time seeing this. Born and raised in Seattle. Yeah, we were surrounded by fellow Polynesians, but my parents, they purposely didn't teach us the language, and we get knocked for it. Both my parents and I, we get knocked for it because of that. But I understand they didn't want us to struggle in school being bilingual or struggling with English. So I was always yearning for my culture, the language, definitely, but like the dances and the songs and such. So I was amazed. Nothing else mattered to me. I was just glued in. And then I remember this one part of the video. It was like the intermission or halftime or whatever. Halftime during the sports game. It said stated 70%. I forgot the number, so don't quote me on this number. 70% of the performers you see here are also students at the nearby Brigham Young University, Hawaii, and it showed glimpses of just kind of a few videos and snapshots of the college, and I was like, that's what I want to do. I want to go to school, further my education over there at the university, and I want to dance, learn my culture and other cultures to earn my way through. Well, unbeknownst to me, my father and my mother decided to move to Hawaii, where he was partly raised, again, right before my junior year, so in 1993, the summer of 93. And attended seminary, early morning seminary, if you don't know. It's like Bible study, for those of you who don't know. And because of that, it no longer exists. But because of that, I was able to earn a scholarship to attend BYU Hawaii. And then I was able to audition. It's a totally different story. We can get into that later about auditioning. I didn't make my first audition, by the way. Even after dancing Tihatis, I thought I had some experience, but we can get into that later. But I eventually was able to dance there, go to school at PCC, Polynesian Cultural Center, and go to school at Brigham Young University of Hawaii. And basically on stage is where I met Penny. So that's a really quick history of how I ended up here in Laie. She's from here, so she wanted to live here, and that's why we're here in Laie.
Brother, that's so cool, man. I'll tell you, it was actually the Ramentos, Teresa and Chris Ramento. When I was dancing at Tihatis, they were there, and I think Teresa had a prom picture of you guys. Yep. And then again, and so that's what brought up the whole conversation. And yeah, ever since then, every once in a while, like I said, I'll be hearing your name from other people and whatnot. And so it was cool to finally meet the legend. Um, yeah, interesting what you said about the whole thing about learning the language, because I know for a while it was kind of looked down upon to learn for Hawaiians to learn Hawaiian because everybody was forced to learn English too.
Yes.
So I think in a way I can identify with you where doing Polynesian dance made me feel closer to my culture because I was learning hula, I was learning motions, I was learning some olis, some chants, and everything like that. So that was like my way to connect. So I hear you on that. Super cool. What about your career now? What do you do for work?
Okay, thanks. So went on the mission, went to college, finished college, I should say, and then I started working for Brigham Young University of Hawaii, as in the purchasing as a buyer. Well, then 4 years later, it was like a promotion. Yes, facilities manager. I was there until 2018. So started my career 2002, working for the corporation and presiding bishop, all the way to 2018. I this is part of later in life. It ended up being part of my struggle, but I'm gonna go ahead and get into it. About 5 years before, 4 or 5 years before my departure from working for the company, awesome company by the way. Um, I'm going to keep it positive, but I don't have the nicest things to say about my immediate bosses at the time. But the company overall, I'll never speak bad about. Anyways, they had a nationwide meeting, and they basically said, for all of your facilities managers, we're gonna cut you down like at least a third. And there was only three of us in Hawaii, right? And we split up the whole state. And I thought, okay, I'm not on the best list according to my boss. So if they were to choose two out of the three, I would be out. So I already started looking. And I've always had an entrepreneurial mindset. Even when I was working for the church or for the school, university, I had the first dollar store here in La Inn. We had a kiosk at PCC. It was like a snack shop. Um, I owned a food truck. That was crazy as well. And so I had all these things on the side and other direct sales and all that. Um, so I thought I was ready. So I pulled the trigger, decided, we're gonna part ways. The company was really nice, by the way. I'm gonna shed some positive light. They let me keep my phone that I had for 16 years and the number. I was like, wow, that's so nice. Um, some benefits they let us have for a couple of months. I was invited back. Say, hey, if you ever want to come back and work for us, you feel free to do so. And so I feel like I left on good terms, but I knew that the writing was on the wall. Eventually, I think out of the three of us, I'm probably right, but I didn't want to find out the hard way. I didn't want to wait to the end today. Say, yeah, really, you gotta go. So, anyways, I did some entrepreneurial ventures, like I mentioned. Some of them did not work out. In fact, so that was 2018 in January. 2019, the whole year, was probably the toughest year of my adult life. Things were not working the way I thought, even though I planned for like 4 years. Um, a lot of challenges, a lot of downfalls, a lot of failures. 2019 was so tough that it was tougher than 2020. And pause real quick. I'm gonna give me a second here. Sorry. I'm gonna make it so nobody can call or do not disturb. Okay. Thanks. Um, 2019 was so tough that it was tougher than 2020. And I'm not taking away from my brother's loss. Our youngest brother passed away 2020. He had heart and lung issues. But even with that, 2019 was tough, really. If I'm going to be honest, I was trying to find my place here on earth. And I was serving in a leadership calling in the church at the time in our congregation. If you don't know our religion, I was a bishop at the time. So I had all the boxes checked that everything was working out right. I lived in a place I love. I have a loving wife, loving children, a calling that was pretty demanding but very fulfilling. Yet I still felt like, man, I'm not doing as well as I think I should, and I feel like a huge failure. I relied on the Lord a lot of praying. Um, on the other side, uh, well, I mean the spiritual, but on the other side, like another note that I really want to point out to help me. If anyone else is out there struggling, definitely rely on the Lord, rely on your family. But our young children were so young that they didn't know what was going on. But I would always embrace them and hug them often, especially when I was feeling really, really down and low. Like I would even say depressed. I don't want to take away from those who were clinically depressed. I didn't go find out if I was, but I was feeling really, really crummy and really bad that I'm pretty sure I was, even though I didn't go and get checked out that way. But hugging my wife and our innocent children, it just brought so much. It just got me aligned again to get me on track to say, hey, there are tough days, but you've had better days, and you will have better days in the future. So, to get back to what I was saying, I got back on my feet, and when you asked about what I'm doing, businesses and whatnot, I am a licensed life insurance agent, and that happened a couple of years ago. I have been, wow, several years. I lost count, but let's just say several years. Been involved with real estate investing, fix and flips, the main thing. And we're actually holding, it's funny, I didn't mean to add this plug, but tomorrow in Kahuku, we're holding a real estate deal finding mastermind. Now, it's free, no charge. It's just for those of us who want to get, well, obviously I'm involved. The four of us, we're putting it together are involved. But if anybody wants to learn how, come and learn. We'll share with you what we know. If you do already know how, maybe you can share what you already know. And because one of the toughest things about real estate investing is deal finding. So I started that up with some good friends. That starts tomorrow. Shout out to Omni Casey. Is probably out of all of us, yeah, hands down, out of the four of us, the most successful as far as amount of doors that he has and amount of money that he has. And so he has the cash flow breakfast club that he's doing nationwide. And he just started here in Hawaii. So that guy got that going as well. And yeah, just a lot of other odd end things. Like I've been doing DJ ever since. That's a funny story. I'll get into that and then I'll stop rambling. My daughter, the third daughter, so our third child, third child, Naomi, when she turned one, you already know how it is. You have that 1 year old, right? And so after three children, I was thinking, okay, we are planning a big family, my wife and I. Do I have to hire a sound guy every time we want to do a paina or a luau or a party or whatever? And I thought, I'm just going to invest. So I remember taking our taxes that year and investing into a sound system. I was like, we're going to do our own sound. And that's what started it.
Save money, right?
Yeah, save money. Exactly. She just turned 17. So that's 16 years that evolved into me doing, like this past week, I did 3 different gigs. I think you and I were chatting in the middle of one. And that's a fun side hobby. I love to see people's reactions if I get the music and the setting right. So yeah, from life insurance and real estate investing to DJ and part-time evening dancer. No, I'm just kidding. I stopped that back in 20. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Yeah. So that's where I'm at.
Dude, you definitely got the skills to pay the bills, man. I mean, honestly, I cannot think of too many people in Hawaii that only work one job. I mean, pretty much all of us usually have like one permanent main job, and then we do like a side hustle, usually. Yep. And usually, sometimes a side hustle is like a hobby that we try to make money with or whatever like that. I noticed that, all of us, like my side hustle is doing like graphic design stuff on the side and whatnot. I used to dance maybe like a year or two ago. I'm done, man. I can't do it anymore, bro. Oh my gosh.
At least you can say 2 years ago. I don't remember the last time I danced. It's been too long.
Hey, but the thing is, your videos are still on YouTube, though. I see them. Videos of Vili is still on YouTube, folks. Just letting you know.
You cannot recognize him, but yeah.
Stop. Oh, speaking of which, if people wanted to contact you to get advice on life insurance or real estate, how would they contact you?
Thanks. On my social media, I do have a Calendly link, but probably the best would be text. I'm going to go ahead and give my number out publicly, which is fine. That's 808-282-9145. Shoot me a text and be happy to help. Thanks for asking.
Yeah, man. Is it cool with you if I put your contact on the description of the video? Yeah. Okay, cool. I'll put that on there too. And when you were talking about finding your place on earth, that hit me to the heart, bro, because I've been there. And I think during this whole COVID thing, I was kind of having a moment where I was there too, trying to find, okay, what is my purpose? I kind of know what I want to do, but how am I going to go about getting it? And it's been getting better. And that's a big deal right there. What would you say are like some of the other triumphs and challenges that you face in your life, if you don't mind sharing?
Oh, yeah, thank you. I learned that if it's a game, well, if it's legal, of course, legal, ethical. But if it's a game that you have to play, just play by the rules. I'm going to give you a great example. So one of these cash flow breakfast club meetings that I attended with on like he brought a friend who's a fellow entrepreneur. I mean, oh man, I'm gonna misquote. If you want to really know, reach out to me. I'll send you his IG. He went his nice quote under his name on his Instagram is broke to like 110 and 110 million. Now he's a real estate investor, right? So I'm not asked him, can you please just say a few words for everyone that they see you're living the life? And he is. That's all he does is real estate investing. And there's a point to this whole story. So he stands up, he says, hey, I'm living proof that you can make it happen, real estate, and we're all sold because we're into real estate. But then he goes, does anyone here have a full-time job at good credit? And so one young lady raised her hand. He goes, okay, stand up. And she's like half his age. Let's just say she's like 25. And he goes, did you know because of the way the game, this is what I'm referring to as far as playing the game. Did you know that you're way better off than me in this world? And everybody kind of laughed because here's a multi-millionaire telling the 25-year-old that has like, I don't know, maybe a $15 an hour job and good credit that she's better off because of the game. So then it got me really thinking, and we all know what it is. It's the credit game. That's what he was referring to. He says, I got to jump through hoops just to get loans, even though I have all this in my portfolio, like $110 million worth, I still got to play the game. So my point is, I haven't, if you did the math for what I said earlier, I haven't worked a 9 to 5 since January of 2018. That's almost 5 years. That next month is 5 years. Oh, thanks. And it's been ups and downs. It hasn't been all, roses and cherries, whatever you call it. It's been a lot of, and obviously 2019 is probably one of the downs. But what I'm saying is, when I have purchased this property that I'm sitting on right now, 2010 in Latvia. That was my wife's dream, and I wanted to cover that as well later on. Please remind me. But we have never refinanced. We've never taken a second mortgage, nothing, HELOC, nothing. So I thought, okay, I probably have some equity in it after all this real estate talk again, revival in my mind. Sure enough, there's a lot. Like we created plans. We had it approved through the state to build. And basically our old house, it's really old. Lift it, tear down partial demo, lift it, extend it, and build underneath, which is a big job, right? It took 2 years for that permit to be approved. However, I've tried to save enough. I don't have enough right now to build it. So I thought, let me get into the equity. When I went to the various banks, and there's more than one that I went to, they all said the same thing. Your credit is good. You have a lot of equity. I'm talking like 600K, because I never done anything with it. But when W-2 would be the best and easiest way, and I'm thinking, man, this is what that guy was talking about. I can have so much equity in the property, fix my credit, which is another game in itself, but it's still not enough for the banks to say. So my resolve was, okay, this is the game I have to play. And I've been living this my whole life. I said, okay, this is the game I got to play. Again, legal, ethical. I'm going to go play the game. So I've been actually job hunting. I have a family chat, right, with my siblings and my parents. And I say, guess who's job hunting after 5 years? And all of us just laugh because I've been promoting this time freedom and, entrepreneurial thing. But I got to play the game, and I'm down for it because I want to access that to make it work for, because that's enough to build and invest in, and so on and so forth. But yeah, that multimillionaire, he sparked that in me. I was like, so if he can say it, well, who am I? Go play that game. Yep.
You's a hustler. What was that thing you mentioned about Penny? You said you was going to talk about Penny's dream home or something?
Oh, okay. So right after we graduated, young, poor student. Well, no, one of us is still in school. So young, poor college students. We had one child. So let's see, married in 2000. Jane was born in the end of 01. Let's just say 02, 03. We couldn't afford TVA, Temple View Apartments, which was pretty cheap, which says a lot. If we can't afford that, like, come on, man, what do you? We were running really thin financially. So, long story short, we went to move with her father, who lived. Obviously, she's from Laie, so he still lived here. But he warned us. He said, "Hey, you can live here, but I'm gonna sell the place. I'm gonna move back to Samoan." So he gave us ample time. It wasn't like we just left out of nowhere. He gave us a lot of time. Still wasn't enough for time for us to save up. We ended up. So Penny had a studio in Haula. where she would teach anyone from ages 3 and up. And the evening classes was after the night show. You know how the night show works. So when everybody got out of work, they head over to the studio so that we can have the classes and the training for the competitions and whatnot. But when everyone left, that's when I looked. I remember looking out the door. Okay, everyone's gone. Locked the door. Bring out the futon. Put it on the ground, and then our child Jade at the time, and the two of us would sleep on the ground because we was basically homeless. We were living out of the studio, and nobody really knew. Um, and we did that for some time. But I remember one night, and this gets to my point. Thanks for reminding me, Gavin. One night we did that, and when you turn the lights off in the studio, it's pitch like, and we didn't really do the phones back then, so it wasn't like, hey, just stay on your phone until you fall asleep. We just turned. It was like darkness, and I remember laying on the futon in the dark. We said our prayers and whatnot, laying down, get ready to bed, and then I hear my wife like started sniffling, and then I started because of our situation. We were like, we're sleeping on a mat on the ground in the studio that because of our I would say our poor choices financially. Well, then and there is where I resolved that one day I'm gonna purchase you your home where you want, which is Laie. That's her hometown, and I ended up doing that 2010 with her help, of course. But yeah, we've been here since then, and that's why I wanted to circle back to the house that we're so grateful to be here in Laie.
Bro, that's what you just said right there. I think it's super important. Like, some of the other gentlemen I had interviewed, we talked about it online and even offline too, about how a lot of times your environment and your situation doesn't necessarily dictate what happens to you. Like you mentioned about you and Penny, very heartfelt, bro. You guys were crying and about the situation. I mean, you could have taken it one way and just be like, oh, well, it is what it is, and just be in it and maybe not even do anything about it. But you said you had the resolve, you had the fortitude to overcome that and do something about it. What would you say made you want to get over that hurdle in your life right there, rather than just go the other way and be like, yeah, we just go stay with my dad and my dad's place and just roll with it?
Oh, thank you. Thanks for asking. Would be my faith in the Lord. I know that sounds so cliche. You probably hear that, but nothing has gotten me through all of my challenges other than the Lord and my family. So those two answers would be. I know it sounds like Sunday school answers, but it is really true. There's no other. I can't send you to go over to the library and check out this book, or it. It's the Lord encompasses everything, right? Um, Staying faithful, of course, but actual attendance, being active in the church, daily studying of the scriptures, daily prayers, and I always feel like when you're on your knees, it's hard to fall. So like real praying on your knees. I know I've had prayers, sorry Lord, where it's like, okay, I'm really tired, just say a quick prayer, but it's the heartfelt prayers on your knees that I feel are more meaningful. And then relying on my wife, she's gotten through everything. I just had this flashback. I didn't plan on telling this, but I remember the two of us. We had like one worker at the dollar store, but so that means we were working most of the time, right? She was pregnant with our fifth child at the time, and she's making gift baskets and balloons and flowers. That's what she still does that today on the side. But I'm looking at her like, and I'm doing everything else, cleaning and restocking and everything, and I was thinking, holy smokes, that was a lot of work, but that really helped us that time in that store when we closed down helped us to get the home. So it's all worth it. Everyone has a different story and every different journey, but I would not do it any other way if I were to go back.
That's awesome story, bro.
Thanks.
I'm going to ask you another question. So how has your cultural values helped you in your life?
Okay. Thank you. But what I've learned and gained over time, even though they didn't teach us the language, our parents instilled within us respect for the Lord, and respect for our elders, and respect towards other people overall. So that has helped me in my life because there's never a time that I know I've made mistakes. I'm not perfect, but for the most part, and I hope it's still the case out there, there's never a time that anyone associates me or my name to anything that's unethical, illegal, or that hurts other people or malicious. So that culturally has helped me. I can see a lot more, but if I use that to encompass my whole overall theme, culturally, that would be it.
That's good. The reputation, your name. That was the same thing that was brought up by some other gentleman too. Is especially when you live on an island, bro. You know,
Yeah, so small.
I mean, if you do something, oh my gosh, the whole world gonna find out about it. It feels like living on an island, man. It's so crazy.
So true.
Shoot, uh, if you had any, I guess like tidbits of advice. I mean, you gave a lot of great advice already. For like struggling Polynesian men out there, or just anybody that's struggling, what advice would you want to tell them on how to survive, how to get over that stress that they're experiencing?
Thank you. There's some taboos growing up. I'm pretty old. But there's some taboos growing up that there's stuff like you would never ever cross these lines or whatever. And one of them is for some reason we were taught to hold all of our feelings inside. There was never, and I'm not saying anything bad about our parents or their generation. So my mom and dad's gonna probably end up watching this, so they know I don't mean harm to them or their name. But that generation to my generation, there was never like a, and I'm probably gonna laugh when you hear this. Hey, mom and dad, what is sex? You know, you would never hear. And even if someone even tried, was brave enough to ask that question to our older generation, and I don't know if they would survive after that day. So there's there's a lot of taboos. Like there's just things that you just
Never
don't do.
mind.
And
Like,
that's
never
one of
mind.
them.
Don't ask that question.
Yeah, exactly. Who are you to ask that question or whatever? So so I want to say, okay, this is my personal. You can take this advice if you want or not, but let's take the discipline side. Um, we know the old school way is hit first, ask questions later. Yeah, I said that right. I've been trying to change that. I'm not going to change it all by myself, but in my own home, especially with sorry, I gotta do this with child number 6. Um, he's taught me a whole lot of patience. He's probably the most vale we say in Samoan, kolohe we say in Hawaiian. Um, yeah, he's very a lot of it. Okay, he's not a bad kid, but a lot of it is just full of energy. He's just got so much energy that there's a lot of times that we're saying, "Hey, calm down," or "Quiet," or "You just broke that," or "Fix that." So what am I saying is going from what I know and I was raised with, and the usual tactic or the usual way you handle someone like that is just keep hitting him until he's into submission, until he's not as excited, not and I'm not perfect, so there was times I lost it, but then I learned over time I could see that's not the way. Now this is 2022, everyone. I know I sound like I'm talking against our traditions, but for 2020, they're just built different, these children these days. And it just doesn't work. And if you look over time, I'm not pointing fingers, but some of those kids that got hit a lot, they turned crazy when they left the house. You know what I mean? So that didn't work as well either, if you think about it a lot of the time. So I'm trying a new approach. If there's anyone out there struggling, I know you asked this in one way, is maybe be open to other methods without turning your back fully on the culture. Because I appreciate my culture. I was yearning, like I said, I use that same word, but there are certain aspects of it that's like, okay, maybe I need to use my words more than my hands, and it has worked tremendously for my child 6. Now, I was gonna say child 1 through 5, all the boys, which is only 2, right? So, anyways, I didn't hit the girls, at least not. Yeah, I didn't hardly. It's the boys all I was kind of rough on, but the older ones are probably looking like, man, I didn't get that kind of treatment. What is this new awakening that dad has? I'll talk first and have more patience. But it's working a lot, especially with this child of mine. And you will never know unless you are a parent and you're in this situation what I'm trying to explain. And I apologize all the time, especially to my oldest son, because our oldest is a girl. So we had a daughter, and then our son. I took a lot out from him. Um, that over the years I ended up, and he's a good kid. He doesn't hold anything against me, but I was more rough on him than anyone else. And so a lot of times I'm in a nice way apologizing. Hey, I know that was me in the past, young father. I didn't read the book. I don't know if there is any any real book. You gotta experience it, man. You just gotta be a father. But yeah, I've changed my ways in that way. Also, if I can add this, be open to reach it out. Um, Gavin, when you and I were kind of chatting, setting up for today, you kind of let me know some of the experiences you've had with other people. And I thought, man, if we just had someone that we could talk to relay our challenges, my 2019 wouldn't have been as bad as it was because I kind of built a wall around myself certain times. But man, what you're doing, if this helps at least one person, it's all worth it for what you're doing, Gavin, really.
No, I appreciate you, man, big time. Another reason why I started this too, and I didn't mention it in the video on my channel. When I was getting this training about it was like mental health training one time. It was at my previous workplace, and basically they were saying that one of the best things you can do if you are feeling down or tempted to do something you shouldn't be doing or whatnot is to bring somebody else into the conversation or talk to somebody, which is the reason why in our church they talk about the idea of service. Because the way and it was interesting because this trainer was somebody that worked with a lot of people in Hollywood, famous people in Hollywood, and he said he tried to keep it real simple so we'd understand. The bottom half of your brain takes care of like the survival instincts. The top half of your brain takes care of like the logic. And when we are stressed, feeling down, it automatically puts us into the bottom half of our brain, which is our survival instincts, which is the reason why when you need to survive, what are things you got to do in order to survive? You gotta eat to survive. You gotta reproduce in order to survive too. Sometimes you need to sleep. And so that's the reason why some people they do comfort eating, or some people get addicted to porn, or some people do all these things, that are associated with survival instincts. And the way you get out of that is you bring somebody else, because you cannot be in your survival mode of your brain when somebody else is in there, because survival is just about yourself. And once somebody else comes into the picture, then it automatically kicks your brain into the logical side. Yeah. And when they told me that, I was like, holy crap, the light bulb just went off, and so I found myself doing that. Like if ever I'll be feeling down, I talk to my dad, or I, talk to my wife, obviously, if she was available at home. Or sometimes I just text my cousin, my sister, whoever, just anybody that was available, and just having that minor text conversation saying, hey, I'm feeling down. I was, oh, what's up? And then just 2 minutes, power ready. I'm feeling a little bit better. Sometimes you need a little bit more, but yeah, that was part of the reason why I wanted to start this too, because I felt like leaving this archive of videos of all of us, Polynesian guys going through challenges might be a way of these guys to listen in on somebody else and be like, oh yeah, they went through stuff that I went through. Yeah, maybe that might help. So I don't know. Hopefully somebody gets something out of it. Maybe.
Oh, really? I think so. Really. That's awesome.
But no, brother, I really appreciate you doing this, man. Because I know you're busy. For folks that don't know, Vili and Penny have you guys have like 10 children?
9.
9. Ooh, wow. See that? And that's amazing. You have 9 children. You basically got 3 businesses. You do real estate, you do life insurance, and you're a DJ. I know your wife has her own entrepreneurial stuff too. And managing all that is like, man, I don't know how do you guys do it? How do you guys do it?
It's a crazy house. I'm not gonna lie. I'm so glad there are no, like reality shows. I'm so glad there are no TV cameras in our house, because they'd be like, hey man, they yell a lot. You're just talking about really calm on Gavin Wong's thing, your channel, but in real life with the kids, man, he's very loud.
You gotta have to, right? I mean, to me, it makes sense. I mean, we only got 2 boys. My wife and I are loud with the 2. They're hyper as heck. Sometimes we joke around. It's like, man, these 2 boys feel like we get 6.
Yeah, boys. I know it. Girls are so calm, but yeah, 2 feels like 4. So I hear you, man. I hear you. But I wanted to ask you a quick question. I know you got me on. What made you want to start this? Because I already see the value in this, man, really. From those that you mentioned in the past and myself, I feel like this is like therapy for me. I feel so good already. But what made you want to start this, bro?
Oh man, long story short, I know we got like a couple minutes, but in the last few months, I was seeing a lot of bad stuff on the media and just hearing bad experiences. Like I see the news, I see Hawaiian guys getting arrested, Hawaiian guys getting shot by cops because they were doing something they're not supposed to be doing. And looking up stats about the imprisonment population, 41% of the population in prisons is Native Hawaiians, and Polynesians are included in there somehow too, but it's like almost half, bro, almost half. And then during the summer, one of my classmates, Petty, my classmate, she got shot in the head by her own son. And that's legit, bro. And that was the thing that capped it off right there. It was like, okay, something else going wrong. You know, Satan is out there to ruin a lot of things and whatnot. And there's a lot of other people that are going through bad stuff, but especially with us island boys, I feel like there's not too many systems available for us to have support, not too many tools for us to have support. I feel like there's better things out there available for women, but not so much for the men. And that was the reason why I started this, man, because I was just getting frustrated. I was just getting tired, bro. Honestly. So hopefully, you know, maybe one sheep can look at this. I mean, not saying they're weak if I say sheep, but just how they talk about, you know, saving the souls, right? Saving sheep.
Yes.
Just one person can just check this out and, you know, get something out of it and maybe change their mind, change their the decision making. You know, that'll be worth it, bro. I hope so. So please share and share with your friends and subscribe. Yeah, no, really appreciate this, man.
I'm glad you did this because of that reason. You're right. There's not a lot out there for us, and even if it's just to hear someone else's story, make you learn. Okay, this is what I'm going to avoid. I'm going to follow that. Then we help each other, man. So it's a great vehicle that you put out there for everyone.
Oh, thank you, bro. And you guys are part of it. You guys are the stars. When I put this up on Facebook, get ready, man, because I'm going to be tagging you on there.
I'll share your channel as well, man. Thank you.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. Hey, love you so much, brother. Thanks for doing this. And one of these days you should have a time management class. Time management class, because like I said, amazing you'll be able to do all those things you'll be able to do. But folks, if you guys got to contact Vili, I'll leave the contact information in the description, and go check him out. Go check out all the things that he's doing, and we'll see you on the next episode of Ho'i Kaika. So mahalo, pafkai lava, peace.
Thank you. Much love. Thank you.